Evet, şu anda
şöyle geçin isterseniz. Ha, şimdi açılacak. Evet.
Welcome to my presentation in STEM conference. It's a critic of STEM. I will present my presentation after. Now this is recording because I want to share this video with the world via YouTube. So I have some critics and I want to say something about STEM education. Please, you may see the next slide. Now I want to summarize my study as I want to talk about the origins of STEM education. Then I want to explain Stemless, what's Stemless education and what's STEM education. And I will represent my critics going on slides. Now, let's start with the origin of STEM. According to my research, I want to ask whether STEM education is natural requirement. Is it our natural requirements? No. It started with developed countries because they need more engineers. In China, some scientists predict that in 5 or 10 years later, they will the first country, they will the biggest and huge country in Yes, USA
Var mı anlayan bilgisayara göndermesi? Buradan bir bakın isterseniz açıyorum.
Hocam herhalde bilgisayara STEM Education lazım diyor.
O da alışmış Stemless'e.
İstiyor, STEM istiyor. O belli ki. Hoşuna gitmedi STEMless.
Daha sistemi anlatmadan hocam resten girdi.
Televizyon kapanmış olabilir mi?
Ha,
O kapanmış.
Artık bu olabilir ya. Çıkmadı.
Tamam.
Şuraya geleceğiz.
previous yes, thank you. And this was a problem. We looked for to understand the problem. We directed to computer, but it was out of computer. The problem was out of computer. It was here. Now the same thing we are doing. We have different needs, but we are looking for different sides. STEM education is similar to this phenomenon we have experienced. It's not our Turkish national requirements. It doesn't base on our requirements. Then, in 1996, National Science Educational Standard was published. Probably Clinton was president. Then Bush came to as an American president. Then he announced a new educational approach. No child left behind. Now, the Obama's turn, and he published next generation science standards. STEM depends on these standards. So after 2012, we learned a word STEM. What's STEM? In Guardian or New York Times, if you look at these newspapers, critics are about the word STEM. Are we focused on biology with STEM? Because you know STEM is at the bottom of floors. Then they discussed this term because it was different. With saying STEM, you don't understand science, technology. But now we are familiar with STEM. It's about science, mathematics, technology, engineering. Previous slide, please. I may say something. And yes, in this slide, I want to highlight there, this is the wall of developed countries. They look 10 years later, they want to be the first country, they want to be powerful country, so they are changing their educational systems because more innovators are in China. USA has some difficulties to teach innovators. Then they changed education paradigm, education approach, and found STEM education. Please, the next slide. Yes. This was politician way. Let's look at the from the point of educational origin. We learn with our brains. Am I right? Yes. In our left brain, science, technology, engineering, and these kind of sciences are based and computed in our left brain. So, what about right brain? Art or creativity or other multidisciplinary connections become in right brain. I agree that STEM is multidisciplinary approach. Please, previous slide. Yes, I believe it's multidisciplinary approach. Yes, I believe, but yes, okay.
Now there is a new terminology that just the point. It's called STEAM. STEAM.
Yes, I know.
Science, technology, engineering, art, and mathematics.
I know. I know.
That may be the answer to your question.
I know that. Thank you very much. I know that they will add all the letters to STEM. STEAM, STEM, STEM S plus N, STEM plus N, A. They will add different letters. They have to. Why? Because STEM isn't a natural setting. Okay, this STEM is not appropriate to our learning system. They will add art. They will add economics, music, physics education, literature. They have to add because they are all in one concept. Now, please, you may see the next slide. In this step, I want to highlight another misconception. 21st century skills. Wow. This is not correct. Why? Because from 2016 to 2099, we say this period of time as a century. But we are at the beginning of the century. How can we explain, how can we find out the skills for other left time? How can we do this? We didn't complete it 1/5 of this century. How can we say the whole of century, 21st century skills? How can we say? Maybe 40 years later, I will communicate by shaking my teeth like this, and I will transform all information to my teacher. How can you say? How can you explain the skills 21st century, all over the century these skills will be used? This is not correct. And say me the 20th skill century, not 21st century skills. 20th century skills. Can you tell me any skill from the previous century? No, because you can't find anything from literature because it's it's not natural. You can't explain.